It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
It's Monday, March the 4th. Ozzy Osbourne, Shot in the Dark. We get up before dark around here, or we get up during the dark. I guess I should say we get up before the light. And we all wake up, and I'm speaking for all four of us, and we have a shot or two or three of coffee because that's what you do, damn it.
Yeah.
You get up, you turn the alarm off. For me, I don't know about the rest of you guys, the timer's set, the coffee's already going on its own. I walk downstairs, there it is, boom, and I start drinking coffee. And now I wake up today and read, I'm doing it all wrong.
Uh-oh.
Damn it. A sleep expert now says drinking coffee the minute you wake up is not good.
Shut up.
What?
And by the way,
Sleep expert.
And that doesn't mean it's great. It means no. You should wait several hours until your hormone levels aren't as high.
Right.
What's the point? You
Until
don't
you've
need
killed
it
a
then.
coworker. Yeah, right. You don't need it then.
Oh my God, that's so funny you said that. I had a terrible, well, not terrible, it wasn't that bad. This morning was rough. My alarm went off. I was in this deep, deep sleep.
Right.
I was like in Italy trying to find my hotel,
Was I
talking
there?
Italian.
Was I there?
No.
Okay,
I was
whatever.
alone, and it was a crazy dream. And my alarm goes off, and then Gigi jumps on my head. She gets all entangled in my hair, and I was like, oh my God. I started screaming at her like a crazy psycho.
Right.
And then I knocked my water bottle off, and then I just yelled at my house that I was going to kill everybody.
All right.
Okay.
And it's Monday morning, just like that.
Great, and we get to be
Fun.
with you for the next 4 hours. This is fun.
Oh, it was
Give that
rough.
woman some caffeine for crying out loud.
Tell you what, this is a wild one, and I mean, I'll say this: I have days where I get up and don't get as much coffee as I'm used to, and then I realize, well, maybe I don't need coffee. Maybe I'm going to be okay, but it's too late because if I go 3, 4, 5 hours of being awake without coffee, then the caffeine headache starts.
Oh, yeah.
And once the caffeine headache starts, caffeine
Yeah.
doesn't fix it. You're just screwed for the day.
Right.
It's over.
Yeah, I've not twice now at the big KQ here not worked because I didn't have coffee to start my morning. Got to the radio station, no coffee available. And now our best coffee maker is locked up in Tony's office, which is always fun, I think. But
I made copies of his keys. Did I not give you one? Sorry, I didn't tell Tony.
Please, you guys can.
No, so apparently this here's the science. When you wake up, your cortisol level is at its peak. That's your primary stress hormone. It enhances alertness and focus. No, it doesn't. Or no, it isn't. There's nothing alert or focused about me when I first wake up, and especially when I've had a great night's sleep. If I have, yesterday I had a Saturday night. Went out, saw my nephew play at the Turf Club, great show, great band. I mean, truly just incendiary performance. It was incredible. Up late, feel good, got home, slept in, 8 straight hours uninterrupted sleep, which very rarely happens. And I woke up and I felt physically wonderful, and I drank coffee, and I was still brain dead for 2 hours because the more I sleep, it just takes me a while to get going again.
Yeah.
So the whole idea that my alertness and focus are with me first thing in the morning is a complete, that's insane. So they're saying if you drink coffee right when you wake up, it can do more harm than good. And it's even possible you could become immune to caffeine. Okay, now, but see, then I go, well, hang on. There are days when I feel like no matter how much I drink, I don't get any boost. So I'm kind of seeing maybe yes, maybe no, but I'm also going, well, I'm sure as hell not going to experiment with this.
yeah, no, right. I think it's totally psychosomatic for me. Sure, the caffeine has some sort of chemical reaction that still works for me, but I won't start my day without coffee. However, never drink it on the weekends. Rarely drink coffee on the weekends. Yeah, because I've slept in. I'm in a different frame of mind.
And you don't get a headache.
Yeah. No, I don't get a headache. No, but I will not start a radio show without coffee, and I've proven it by not coming into work until I was threatened to be suspended, and then I came in. But I mean, yeah. So for me, it's a security blanket to do this crap. But on the weekends, who needs it?
How many do you throw down on a typical weekend?
I throw down 2 10-ounce coffees each morning.
Right.
Okay, child's play. That's probably about, I don't know. Well, on my coffee maker, it's 6, 7, or 8 cups, depending on how much water I put in.
Right.
And then, like, I put the water in first every time, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't need that much, but I got to match it with the coffee.
Right.
So, but it's probably way more than I need. But then again, I drink some at home, and then I bring a thing. What do you call it? What is this thing? A carafe, a to-go cup. I fill that too. So I'm sipping that coffee throughout. From the moment I wake up to the final hour of the show. I'm just sipping. I'm just contemplating, thinking about the luxury that is a bean grown somewhere else in the world that I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, sleep experts need to focus on something else. Leave our coffee alone. Focus on the fact that we're staying up way too late watching crap on our phones or something like that. I don't know.
Real quick, Candace, is Gigi okay?
Yes,
Okay.
I have to go make it up to her after this. I was kind of a bitch.
That's pretty rough.
Think about a sleeping cap. So she doesn't get tangled in her hair. I'm worried about both of you, for crying out loud. That's a tough way to start the day. And here we go with allergy season. I don't know if anybody else is feeling it, but it's it's temperature. What are we, about mid-June right now?
Way ahead of
weather-wise?
schedule, man.
Way ahead of
Golly.
schedule. Allergy season, wildfires out there. It's all pretty crazy, but I think we're talking about some crazy allergies that people have, some weird stuff in the news. That's coming here pretty quickly. Hang tight. Have your coffee. Yes.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, March the 4th. As Zepp mentioned a few minutes ago, it's weird to say this, but allergy season is right around the corner, a little ahead of schedule. Man, oh man, here it comes. I lived a wonderful allergy-free life until I was about 20 years old. And one summer, the summer I turned 20, 1985, I was cutting the grass at my mom's house and just started sneezing in the middle of a grass cutting. And it wasn't spring, it was like June. And I sneezed a few times and I thought, I thought that's weird. And then I sneezed a few more times and I went, that's even weirder. And then I kept sneezing and I sneezed, and this is not an exaggeration. We can call my mom for confirmation. Yes. I sneezed an average of 10 times a minute for well over an hour.
Ah, no way.
I am not exaggerating. I could not stop sneezing. I was dunking my head into a sink full of water thinking that would help. And I would pull my head out and sneeze. Literally, hachoo. And then, I can't believe here comes another one. Hachoo. And they weren't like those giant, every sneeze wasn't a huge, like when you have one a day and you're waiting for it. But it was just... I could not stop. And it went on for over an hour. And at one point, my mom said, I'm taking you to the hospital. And I was like, hang on, just give me a minute. Like, surely this will have to abate. We didn't have Benadryl. She gave me some Sudafed, just thinking, here, maybe this will help dry you out. Yeah. And it eventually kind of went away. And then I, called somebody, or she called somebody, and then we got, I guess, some Benadryl. We got something. But that started my life of kind of spring. This was summer, so it was weird. But then by within a few years, it was just full-on spring. April, May, all the blooms hit, and I would have what you would just call hay fever. But I had a couple days that first summer like that where I sneezed literally nonstop for not 10 minutes. An hour, even up to 2 hours.
Freaky.
Yeah. When is sneezing not a relief?
It was. I hear, when you hear stories about people who get the hiccups and they never go away. Yeah. I kind of think I know what that must be like because of this sneezing thing. But last year I had a great year. I didn't have any Minnesota allergies. Which you go to a new place. Sometimes it takes a while. A while for your body to decide you don't like them. So far so good as a Minnesotan. Allergy free and happy to be.
That's great. I've had allergies all winter long because of this weather. I've really taken an allergy pill every single day.
Wow.
I had them when I was a kid. Really bad. I had to get shots and everything, and then they went away.
That's what happens. They come on and then they go away. It's kind of weird.
A lot of people get them when they're adults. I didn't get hay fever until I moved out west, so I was fine in the Midwest, raised in the Midwest, farm kid out there just sucking in all that pollen, probably developing some nice immunities, but then went out west, and I don't know what it was out there, the dirt, the pine, whatever.
Okay.
juniper bushes, whatever they have out there. But I sneeze my ass off when I'm out west.
We've mentioned a few times on the show, like the recent, and by recent I mean last 30 years, the peanut allergy thing. You're so aware of it, that I'd never even heard of that when I was a kid, and of course it's a very real thing, and it can be fatal to people that suffer from it. I have a dear friend who, if she's in the room with shellfish, will start to break out in hives.
That's a bad one.
And she has taken a bite of food off a plate that previously had shellfish on it and had a reaction. I mean, it's like deadly type of thing. And it's, that's just so bizarre. And like my thing with hay fever, she was in her 20s, and all of a sudden one day it just happened.
I mean, if you had a deadly allergy, would you ever go out to eat? I'm not trusting the food industry.
No,
Like you said, a little...
She's very, very, very careful and very specific about where she goes, and she'll ask a million questions. It can be pretty tough. But here's one here's a story that got us thinking about allergies. There is a woman, her name is Allison Tennyson. She's 34 years old, and she gave an interview recently, and she talked about her life with something the Mayo Clinic calls Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It affects the connective tissues. What does that mean for this particular woman? It means that she is allergic to semen.
Oh, good for her. That's going to, I mean, that's probably not good for her. I was just thinking avoiding semen means avoiding men, and that could be a positive in your life.
Yeah. She's allergic to semen. Not only semen, she's allergic to condoms. So she can't. Basically she can't have sex and she's she's in a relationship. She is it's not that great. I mean, there's ways around it, if you will, or there's other things to do, but it's just an entirely different situation. I wouldn't say, I mean it's hard to even imagine what that must be like. Of course, the immediate punchline is, well, I'm allergic to other people's semen, but that sounds, a little risque for me to say that. So, but the point is, obviously, she's talking about, just as an adult, her sex life is just forever altered, and this isn't something you take a pill for. It's just like, oh, by the way, hey, I love you, can't get near you if you're going to be doing that.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, especially with the condoms, she's got the latex on top of it. Well, I mean, there are ways around it. You just got to be creative, I guess. I don't know if you can do in vitro or that sort of thing if you eventually, want to find a lifelong mate and procreate with. But that's a bummer.
I guess so.
That's a tough one for the guy because you just started dating. He hasn't had a chance to fall head over heels in love with you. Mm-hmm. So that's just a tough one to overcome. Like, maybe I'll go with a woman that's not allergic to me in the sack.
There's a condition known as aquagenic urticaria, and that is a rare condition that causes itchy and painful hives to break out whenever the sufferer comes into contact with water.
Oh, water.
That's unimaginable.
How do you not come in? That's life necessity there. What are you drinking?
Yeah, that's
it's in everything.
Whoo, boy.
How do you tidy up?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. There are people who suffer allergic reactions from handling loose change.
Loose change.
An allergic rash on the hands because there's nickel sulfate is in coins, and sometimes people have a very strong reaction to that. Boy, these are tough. I tell you what, I none of these. I just every now and again you just have to stop and go. I got it pretty good.
There's a kid I grew up with. He was allergic to the skin on grapes. So he would actually sit and he would peel each individual grape. I'm like, really? Do you really need to eat the grape that much?
There's an
all
apple.
that manual labor.
There's so many other fruits. So many other
some
fruits
watermelons, strawberries.
Anything.
Well, here on the KQ Facebook page, by the way, we put up some odd allergies. Water's pretty odd. My son is allergic to felt, writes Elizabeth. Red 40 and camel felt.
Wow.
That's weird. You haven't heard of that one. Vitamin K green vegetables. Oh, Scott, is that an excuse that you've been holding on to since you were a kid? Now you've got to stick with it as an adult? Yeah, vitamin K in green vegetables. I have heard of that allergy. Every kid once.
Allergic to felt, man. That's
felt.
That sounds like a punchline for someone who just got taken by a pool shark.
Right.
But no, I guess that's a real thing.
Right. Mary Kay products and Tamiflu, Tessa writes on here, is what she's allergic to and more. Yeah, some people just have a lot of frickin' allergies, Allergic to this, I'm allergic to that. I've lived with those people. They're allergic to everything. I'm like, well, let's just get you in a bubble.
Yeah, and here we go. Thank God that the winter didn't happen so we can have more of everything we hate about the spring.
Right.
Jeez.
I see Jim and Buck are both allergic to bullshit. So the smart asses are up and early with me. I appreciate it, brother from another mother. Then you may not want to stick around for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. I'm just saying, there's a lot of Hollywood BS in there. And it's coming. Hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, March the 4th. It's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Candace, Tony, Zip. How you doing, everybody? This report, as always, brought to you by Marcus Theaters. And don't forget, tomorrow's Tuesday, Marcus Theaters, a special 6-bar. Will get you in to see any movie. Marcus Theaters, they are the best. Got a lot of movie news. Wow. I mean, I knew that Dune 2 would do killer, but I had no idea. I mean, the latest numbers are showing that Dune 2 did almost $200 million worldwide.
More, yeah.
Wow. Amazing. The Oscars are on Sunday, and you might as well call them the Oscarheimers because Oppenheimer is going to dominate. With 13 nominations, I'm going to make a prediction. They'll win 10 or maybe 11. By the way, we now know some more of the presenters on Sunday. Just added Michael Keaton, Bad Bunny, The Rock, Jennifer Lawrence, Octavia Spencer. And I hear there could be one big surprise. I'll just leave it at that. Oh, I'm hearing that while Jimmy Kimmel will be the host to Sunday's Oscar night, is it true? Jimmy Kimmel will be leaving his late-night talk show permanently very soon. And we should have more information on that later in the week. Oh, that reminds me, speaking of the Oscars. Don't know why, but there will be a lot of extra security for the Oscars next Sunday, including Homeland Security bomb-sniffing dogs. Well, a lot of the movies have been bombs, but I'm sure that's not why they're there. Hope everything is going to be all right. Hey, I remember the grand old days, and Steve, I know you do too. When I was back covering the Lakers, I mean, first the years with Magic Johnson, and then the years with Kobe Bryant. I mean, man, it was the place to be, a Laker game. And I can remember seeing, Jack Nicholson and Denzel Washington and Will Ferrell, Justin Timberlake, Diane Cannon, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, on and on at the games, every single game. Today, the Lakers are in 10th place. And over the weekend, the PA announcer was bragging at the Laker game. Look at all the stars here to cheer on their Lakers. Jay Moore, Corey Gamble, and Lil Wayne. I hate to tell you this, but I've seen bigger stars than that at Costco's. And who is the worst kisser in Hollywood? Well, I don't know, but Gisele Bündchen, Bridget Hall, Rihanna, and Paris Hilton have all said in the past, well, that Leonardo DiCaprio sure can't kiss very good. Okay. Have a great day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, say it.
All right. I'll say this. I saw a Lakers game at the Forum in 1990 on my first ever trip to Los Angeles. And it remains one of the sterling highlights of my life. I was a Laker fan as a kid, loved Magic Johnson. Went out there, first time the band ever went to L.A., met with the label, did the whole thing, shot our first video. It was a real whirlwind 10-day trip. And I said to my new manager, was just getting to know him, I go, hey, man, at some point, if we're ever back out here again, because I was thinking, well, maybe we'll never be back here. If the record tanks, we'll just go back to jobs. I said, hey, man, if you ever could get me Lakers tickets, I'd love to go to a game. And in my mind, I'm imagining myself walking into the Forum and sitting in the back row, because that's what you would do at your first Laker game. Yeah. He goes, when are they playing? I go, well, we look in the paper. I'm like, oh, they got a game tonight against San Antonio. He goes, oh, do you want to go? And I was like, yeah. He goes, okay, let me set it up. Now, it didn't occur to me because my manager also managed at that time David Lee Roth, a giant star. He came from having managed Van Halen, a giant band. He has connections at the Forum where his artists have played many times. 3 hours later, he and I are driving into the Forum Forum Club parking lot, getting out, walking into the Forum Club, the like nightclub next to the court,
Nice.
and then walking through and sitting down on the court.
Oh, you had courtside.
Center court.
Oh, courtside.
I'm
I thought you meant actually on the court.
I'm directly across from Jack Nicholson. My feet are on the hardwood.
Yeah.
And the
to flip
ticket,
them off.
the face value for the ticket in 1990 is $350. And I'm sitting there literally in shock. Just can't even process what is happening. And then as the Lakers come out of the tunnel, Hard to Handle from my first album plays over the PA. It was not even released yet.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
They come out and do layups to my drum beat. And I just sat there and cried. I literally had tears rolling down my face.
Wow.
That's
Well, now
amazing.
you know how we felt when they took the Lakers out of Minnesota. I haven't watched a game since.
I know it's tough. Sorry to twist that knife, but I'm just
Ouch,
saying.
babe.
But I literally was like, that's Jack Nicholson right across the court. That's him. This is not TV. I'm here. And then ever since then, I never sat courtside at a Lakers game again.
Oh,
What a cool moment,
Yeah, it was
though.
a good
I
moment.
mean, you got one.
I got one. That's all. And I said then, I'll be happy if this is the only time it happens. And so I keep telling myself I'm happy because it's never happened again. All right, let's look back. How about some more sports history? It is March the 4th. On this day in 1956, Morgan State University Bears basketball legend Jim Gorman was born. My older brother. His birthday is 3-4-5-6. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was probably 40 before I ever realized his birthday was 3-4-5-6. Imagine my surprise. Miss you and love you every day, Jim. On this day in 1990, one of the saddest days in college basketball history, Hank Gathers of Loyola Marymount collapsed and died on the court in the middle of a game. I was in Los Angeles at that time watching that game on TV, and like everybody around the country, just stared in disbelief. This man led the NCAA in points and rebounds that season. This was a career that was about to go into the NBA and dominate. He had cardiomyopathy, a heart condition that proved to be lethal. He was 23 years old. They went on into the NCAA tournament. His teammate, Bo Kimball, shot all of his free throws left-handed from that day forward to pay tribute to his fallen friend. A great career cut way, way, way short.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, March the 4th. Good morning. I hope you haven't already had your coffee, because if you have, you screwed up. There's some sleep analysts now saying, don't drink coffee when you first wake up. Give it a few hours. Let your body find its own flow. That's not actually the words they used. It just made no sense to me, so I'm going to make up some stuff and paraphrase. Check into your own chi, man. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. They say that coffee, though, is way more impactful, way more effective if you've already been awake for a few hours. So obviously today, I've ruined it. I'm just slugging down coffee like there's no tomorrow over here. But maybe tomorrow I'll give it a shot, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll wake up and realize that I'm allergic to not having coffee right away.
I switched my game up today. I'm drinking a Celsius.
A Celsius?
Those are good.
Yeah, they're interesting. It says there's 200 milligrams of caffeine in this guy. So I don't know. What does that compare to a coffee? I'm not sure.
Like 4 times.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think that's a lot.
Just kidding.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's gonna. Let's see. Well, no, it's
You'll
okay.
be fine.
You'll be fine. They say no, you don't want to go over 400 in a day,
Okay.
but 200 is gonna work just fine.
Yeah, I don't drink caffeine after 11. I'm too grandma-ish.
I don't either, and but my mind's more like a 1 or 2 p.m. cutoff for sure, and I don't feel anything from it. I'll go to sleep easily, but then I'll pop up in the middle of the night if I've had coffee in the afternoon. That's kind of a drag. This is not an allergy, but I did see something the other day too about a woman who suffers from a condition called hyperacusis, and basically what it means is everyday noises start to cause her paralyzing pain. She was living a perfectly normal life, and then all of a sudden she started to experience all sorts of difficulties. You know, you hear about people who lose their hearing. Her hearing went up the other direction, where everything just compounds in her brain. Everything is amplified. Everyday sounds, no matter how soothing, are unbearable to her. Like the voices of her children and any noises anywhere. but like she literally has to just be in a quiet room. Unbearable headaches. I mean, that is just an awful situation. And that's also something that does exist. It's just very rare to hear about. Just about as rare as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. A woman gave an interview recently, Allison Tennyson. She's allergic to not only condoms, but also semen. And as a woman who's in a relationship, it's a really difficult thing to imagine the fact that you have to have a life basically without sex, at least without an actual living man, because those things are just far too painful. Allergies are weird, man. I said before, my hay fever hit me in my 20s. Out of the blue, like a hammer. I mean, just came in and just overtook my life without reservation. But now, and it seems to have chilled and it seems to have abated. It's just an odd thing. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. If you got some weird allergies or a weird allergy story, we'll take a listen. Candace, do we have a caller right now?
Dave from Rogers.
Dave, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. So I had allergies as a kid as well. I had hay fever growing up. It was terrible. And then in my mid-30s, I was out in Philadelphia for a trade show, and there's a microbrewery in the bottom of the hotel. So I thought we had a Philly cheesesteak and a microbrew. Mm-hmm. And I did that, and I spent the next 3 hours in my hotel room curled up in a ball thinking I was having appendicitis. And it turns out I'm allergic to beer.
Oh.
So I went into my allergist, and he said, yeah, brewer's yeast, hops, barley, and malt. You're allergic to all of it. So I said, well, give me a shot for it. And he said, nope, it's avoidance. You just got to stop drinking beer. So that was my first setback. And then about 10 years later, I was deer hunting, and my dad shot a deer out in the middle of a marsh. I had to go pick it up because I couldn't drag it out, so I threw it around my shoulders like Daniel Boone style. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got out of the marsh, I had boils on my eyeballs that you could lance with a pin. My eyes were so full.
Dave!
More detail, please.
I must have sneezed 1,000 times. So love to deer hunt, but beer and deer dander, no bueno.
Beer and deer. Uh-huh. I wouldn't go anywhere where you might experience fear. Let's see, what else have we got? Boy, that is rough, man. The boils on the eyes. Thanks for that. The beer would be a tough one. I got a buddy who also was given news last year. I can't even remember the name of the condition he has, but one of the things he had to give up in his early 50s was beer. That's a rough one.
And it just comes on suddenly too.
Yeah, it's like swallowing a lit match. I mean, it just burns my throat, and my throat swells up, and so. So
had you ever in your life before? So obviously you'd been deer hunting before. You'd been around deer. It was never an issue, and then all of a sudden it was. Wow,
I've been around deer for years and years and years. Never had that issue, and all of a sudden that one time, and so thanks to COVID, I've got piles of these masks laying around. So I still deer hunt. And I'm usually the one that ends up cleaning them, so I slap a mask on, and I'm usually good to go. But, man, it was bad news.
That is a rough one. Dave, thanks for the call. Best of luck out there, man. I hope you cap it at 2 allergies.
You and me both. I don't need any more. If they tell me pizza's next, I'm in deep trouble.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Wow, Dave was
Thanks. Have a great day.
Extremely descriptive.
That's very true.
Oh, we hate that on the radio.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I'm here.
Theater of the mind is great until you go eye boil.
Yes.
I mean, eyeball is one thing. Eye boil, come on, that's a whole nother angle. I didn't know where that was going. He said he was hunting. I thought maybe there was something in the water. I thought he was going to say somebody at a beer barge had spilled. I didn't realize he was going straight to the deer allergy itself. Man, that is a rough one. Zepp, what happens to you if you become allergic to skiing? What does that mean? I'm just trying to think of, imagine what could be the most painful allergy to deal with. Because for a lot of people, beer would be it. And I just thought, no, in your case, if someone said, that's it, you're allergic to skis.
I could probably retire today because I wouldn't need money. I'd probably make my life much better. It's you wouldn't want a beer and deer. That's those are two strong components in my life. I would hate to be allergic to either one of those. But They say that, allergies are up 200% in the last 50 years because of the processed foods, less fresh fruit, vegetables. These are the things that they bat around. But I don't remember many allergies or even kids talking about. We had that one, oddball kid in school that wore the same shirt every day, and he had allergies, Greg. But that was it. There just weren't a lot of allergies. Now, everybody, I've got some allergies. I don't exactly know what they are, but I'll have sneezing fits in the spring in some areas of the United States.
That makes sense. I moved up here from Nashville, Tennessee, which sits in a basin, actually. And Nashville has just, by its very nature, horrible air quality. Because it's just, the winds come in from the west and they hit two sets of big, you can't call them mountains, but pretty good hills. And then Nashville sits on the other side of that. And so it's good for one thing. There's a lot of tornadoes, but they go around the city itself. I mean, occasionally one will sneak through. But for the most part, the worst weather either gets diverted north or south. But then the air quality, like stuff just sits in there without wind in this basin, right? Like Native Americans never lived there. It was they saw it as uninhabitable. Like they were aware of the poor air quality. Like when you look at where all the people set up shop, Nashville was an area they passed through. They never established, base. They were way ahead of where people are now with that. But all kinds of people. It's a boom town, and for the last 15 years, the growth has been ridiculous. And so many people that get there never had a problem with any allergies or anything. No asthma, no hay fever. And then, boy, they get a big surprise when they move to that part of Tennessee. All of a sudden, they're just like, I've never had this problem before. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Oh, my buddy Nick texting me this morning that I forgot Beth, his wife, is allergic to sunlight.
Truly?
Yeah, she's
sunlight.
Sunlight, which she developed in her, God, I want to say late 20s probably when we were starting to get to know each other. But we knew them. A perfectly normal couple, lived next to them in St. Paul. And then all of a sudden, Beth, and they're moving. And I said, where the hell are you going to move where there's no sunlight? I mean, I know you get some darkness up above, the Antarctic, the North Pole there for a while each year, but then you get a whole bunch of light. But yeah, no, they just decided that they wanted to move out of the city, but she had to avoid sunlight. She would get, there was a name for it, but, we started calling her Dracula.
Yeah,
but,
she's a vampire.
Yeah, she had she would have hives break out all over her body when she'd be out in the sun. Yeah.
Candace?
I mean, that's happened to me before, but it's not every time. If I don't protect my skin.
Yeah, no, this was diagnosed. The doc was like, oh, yeah, this happens. It's very rare, but sunlight, that would suck. That would be a game changer in your life, wouldn't it?
Well, this is something that Tony just shared. This would be the opposite of an allergic reaction. This guy in Wisconsin who made the news a few years ago for eating Big Macs every day is still going.
What?
Her buddy.
This is Don Gorski.
Yeah.
50 years of hitting Big Macs every day. Now he is claiming even more. He's extended his record-holding status he reached with the Guinness Book back in 1999. 1999, he had 34,128 Big Macs, all of which he kept the receipts for. So we're talking about a crazy person. The retired prison guard enjoyed his first Big Mac on May 17, 1972. Yeah. And then he just kept going and kept going and kept going. At one point, he was eating 9 Big Macs a day.
Yeah. Yeah, he would take them home and even freeze them.
Yeah.
Don Gorski, right over here in Wisconsin. Here he is talking about his first Big Mac, and this goes back to the Super Size Me. You remember the Super Size Me? I'm forgetting the documentarian was, but...
As soon as I got my first car, this is the first place I came to. I bought 3 Big Macs, ate them out there, enjoyed them so much, and I came back about 5 o'clock at night, bought 3 more, ate them out there, came back around 11 o'clock before they closed and ate 3 more. So the first day I came here, I ate 9 Big Macs, and it was like I couldn't get enough hamburger at that time, and Big Macs are so good. So I ate 265 in the first month.
Now, the part of that interview that we didn't play is where he said that up until that point, he had survived on a diet of dirt and grass and more dirt. What world is? But that is like that's the opposite of an allergy. That's like there's an addiction. There's something in that.
Yeah,
I mean that's
special sauce.
Yeah, there's got to be, right? I mean, that's just completely That's just wild, man.
Morgan Spurlock was the filmmaker.
That's right, Morgan Spurlock. That's right. That's that's my go-to, the Big Mac. I mean, as far as fast food goes, if I had, all right, that's it, Armageddon, you get one fast food item before the mushroom cloud hits. I'm going for the Big Mac unless I'm driving and eating, which of course you shouldn't do, and I never do anymore. Then I go with something, much less messy, or just some cheeseburgers or something. But I love me a Big Mac. But yeah, well, how many now is he up to? Over 30-some thousand?
No, he was at 34,000 in 1999.
All right.
Or no. I'm sorry. It's weirdly written. He's at 34,000 now, but he's held the record since 99. I apologize. I'd hate to overstate how many Big Macs this guy is eating. At this point, just say it's 1 million. What's the damn difference? He says, by the way, also, he walks 6 miles a day to stay in shape. Okay, again, 6 miles uphill with like a 50-pound weighted vest. What on earth keeps you in shape if you're eating that many Big Macs a day?
What if he can detect the subtleties every time, like every day? Is like, well, today was a little more. There was more spice to it.
The special sauce. Yeah. I think he actually added about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I prefer.
Yeah.
Man, I've asked him. The Big Mac. By the way, not a particularly large man either. I mean, he's as fit as any one of us, which isn't saying much, but. This guy, I asked him how the Big Mac has changed over the years. I said, it can't be the same Big Mac you had back in, 1972?
Yeah.
He said he had his first one, and he says it has changed. The burgers have gotten smaller. Yeah. Sad to report. Yeah. Just get more of a burger in there.
I know I was younger as a child, but I also know for sure a Big Mac used to be huge. It was like they were closer to like the width of a Whopper. You know what I mean? Because there's always that thing where like the Whopper's way bigger. Is it really? But it's one patty, not two. And then we would discuss, there was the Piece of Cords, Carter, Bacon, and Sadat, and then Whopper, Burger, Big Mac. These are all the things we were discussing at the time. But the Big Mac used to be bigger because I remember after years of not having had one, opening one up and going like, what in the world happened to this thing? But as Don's getting older, he is cutting back. Again, only 2 a day now is the average.
Only 2 a day. I mean, he must walk into his local McDonald's there in Fond du Lac, and they've got the bag already. It's Norm. He gets a Big Don in there.
563 calories in a Big Mac. That's what the Google machine tells me.
That's all?
563 in the sandwich itself. And so this man at one time was eating 10, 12 a day.
God.
40s. But I guess if that's all if he's down to 2 a day, then yeah, that's not a lot. I mean, if that's all he's eating, he didn't say anything about mixing it up with some Popeye's fried chicken or anything.
Man.
All right,
special sauce in his veins. Don Gorski. Drive on. An inspiration to all of us. We are talking about some weird allergies this morning. If you've got a weird allergy, we'd love to hear from you on the Maple Grove. I almost said Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text Line. Talk about a blast from the past. It's just the Talk and Text Line, 651-989-ROCK. We have something up on the KQ Facebook page as well. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text Line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Oh, are you looking for good news? How about this? In about 30 minutes, we're going to be giving away tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. Willie Nelson with his special guest Bob Dylan and John Mellencamp. They're playing the Somerset Amphitheater Friday, September 6th. And not only are we going to give away tickets, we're going to put 2 of our listeners through the ringer, a little game we call Beat the Toaster, ladies and gentlemen. That's coming up just before 8 o'clock. We'll let you know when to get involved very soon. That's always a very, very exciting moment around here. We just heard Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac, a story about a breakup, a pretty painful breakup. There's a breakup that's about to go down in Indiana, I feel, and this is a story that I just saw. I'm just going to drop this in on you. Court documents revealing an Indiana man and his wife moved into a new home in a town called Eaton. Imagine the day you and your wife, you pack up from one place, you move into your brand new home, you've purchased it. You, being the husband, trust your wife when she says, oh, these are all the financial documents the bank sent and we signed them, and oh, the realtor gave me the keys already, and hey, here's our new home. And then and then you're that husband and you find out, no. No, even though they're moving in, even though they have keys and they're brandishing their front keys proudly, police are called because the person who actually owned the home and the realtor who was selling the home called the police and said, someone's breaking into our house.
No.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. The sale of the house was never finalized. No payments were ever transferred or received. A deeper dive uncovered not only had the couple not submitted their payment, the forms handed over to the realtor had all been fraudulent. They were not given keys from the realtor. The woman broke the lockbox and took the key.
What somehow
without her husband seeing that.
Right.
The husband, according to both he and his wife, was completely in the dark. His wife ran this whole caper on her own.
It does seem like more of something a husband would do, to be fair. I've turned my finances over to women I've been dating for 2 weeks because I just don't do well with that kind of stuff. Right. And we trust women to have that all sorted out. But I wondered what she thought was going to happen the day they put the key that she stole in the lock with people living in there.
It gets better. It gets better. They had a big truck with all their stuff. During the investigation, it was determined that truck was also stolen.
Wow.
The dude told police, the woman, I should say, told police she let her husband drive the truck because she couldn't drive stick. The truck had reportedly been purchased with a bad check.
Sure.
And again, the husband was kept in the dark about the stolen nature of the truck, having no idea about the bad check. So this woman, let's see, what I just got to find. Courtney Davis. I knew it was Courtney. Sounds like something Courtney would do. She faces felony charges, possession of stolen property, fraud, criminal mischief, burglary, residential entry, obstruction of justice, and false informing. Husband is facing charges of residential entry and possession of stolen property. If her story checks out and he's truly in the dark, I imagine he'll get off, and I imagine the judge will at least give one gavel pounding while going, "You need to wake up, son."
Well, she is consistent.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, there's too much going on there for him not to. Well, what am I talking about? He's a husband. Of course, she could have gotten away with all of that, and he'd be oblivious. It's
on one of my early tours, we had a day off in Miami, and one of the members of my band, who shall remain nameless, was seeing a young woman, and she said, "I have a friend who's got a place in the Florida Keys. Their family has a home there. We can go down there. We can stay." And my bandmate said, "That sounds amazing. Let's go." They rented a car, and they drove all the way down, way out to not Key West, but one of the ones right before there, I believe. Mm-hmm. It was Key West because it was the town. There was more of a town there. But they pulled onto a residential street, and they parked in front, and they jumped out, and he's like, "This is awesome." Because, we can stay here for, today. We had 2 days off. We can stay here for the whole thing. And then she said, "The key's around in the back. I'll go get it." She ran around to the back of the house, and then she came through and opened the front door and let him in. And later, he noticed at the back door there was broken glass.
Okay.
And then the whole story came out later. This is a house she had just been to once before, but it wasn't a family friend. She took a huge chance that no one would be there, and they weren't. And she just broke in the back door, knowing there wasn't an alarm system.
Wow.
And then that's and then he found out and was like, "I don't know, seems kind of weird." And we're all like, yeah, seems really weird.
Yeah.
Let's move on from this relationship. Gotta admit, gotta admire the chutzpah on that one, but geez, Pete.
Psychos are always fun, but it's just it's a finite amount of fun you're going to get out of it. When it turns bad.
Well, sure.
And gets very ugly. That doesn't even really compare to the aforementioned stories we just talked about here, but I had a woman that said that she had a house. It was in St. Paul, and that was kind of cool. And after we'd been dating for a while, I was over at her house a couple of times, and it didn't seem right. Something didn't seem right. And I said, "Do you live with does your mom live here? Do you live with your mom?" "Totally cool. If you do, I think that's awesome." No, just me. I just live here. But then when I went to the upstairs bathroom and there was an orthopedic chair in the bathtub, I was like, "What's going on here? You seem physically fit." There's an orthopedic chair. And in turn, she did live with her mom, who bounced out of there every once in a while, but she didn't feel like she could tell me. But there were things that were like Afghans, knit Afghans on the couch. I'm like, something doesn't make sense here. But it just turns out she was embarrassed. She lived with her mom. Nothing to be embarrassed about. But
not at all.
These weirdos. Yeah, this guy has to. I don't know what would bother me more, just being kind of complicit in something like that and we got caught, or the fact that I really had no idea who the hell I was married to at all.
Or there's also, this is just in his mind Tuesday. Who knows what she did the week before? And
Right?
she's got something against him. She's holding it over his head, and he's just like, he's probably like he's dancing right now, like, oh my God, finally I'm free. Who knows what else was happening? He's probably not even his name. He has no idea who he was. He's literally like, I don't know. I just like 5 years ago, I was at a bar, and then I woke up the next day in this lady's house, and I had a new passport, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they might not even be married. Maybe like you said, he just woke up, passed out one night, and she said, oh no, we got married last night. Here's the rings.
Here's something that's like, okay, again, this is a woman who's just moving into a house that she doesn't belong in, and literally only didn't even make it more than a couple hours before the whole thing was up. Which there's another story. There's a woman who is on TikTok. She's a creator. Her name is Ugg Madison. That's what she calls herself on TikTok.
Nice.
Ugg Madison. And she features, she puts up videos where she spends a lot of time in public places trying to see how long she can stay before getting kicked out, but not like not necessarily just walking around a fountain, a public place. She went to a Dollar Tree store and picked up an apron and a hat and just started working as if she were an employee. She worked a full shift, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., without anybody recognizing or questioning her credentials. She literally did the whole thing. And her video shows, I immediately got to work. I started sweeping the floors, organizing the shelves, and giving away Dollar Trees to my customers. She shows herself doing just that, literally for 8 hours. After a few hours, she had to use the bathroom, but she found out they had no toilet paper. So she bought some and made sure the bathroom was up to par with Dollar Tree standards before I got back to work. At one point, she's cleaning the bathroom floor, just down on her hands and knees, scrubbing the floor.
The hell, we could use her around here.
About a half hour
and tidy up.
at 8:30 before they close, half hour. One worker finally approached her to say, hey, do you need anything? She bought $200 gift cards and gave one to each of her coworkers. Just like, oh, yeah, on the way out here. By the way, she did a 6-hour shift at a Kroger last month, did an 8.5-hour stint at a Target. She just goes into stores and just gets done what needs to be done just to see how long she can get away with it.
I love that. No small talk, no contact with anybody.
Just like, hey, let me help you out. And people are like, oh, cool, who's the new girl? And she's just doing her job.
They're sorry to see her go. She won Employee of the Month twice. But she doesn't get paid. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, it's a lot of work.
She's getting millions of views on TikTok. Something tells me there's money there somehow.
Oh, I see. All right, so that's her thing. That's her viral thing. That's what she's doing. Okay, that's her thing. Otherwise, that would creep me out more than the lady that lied to me my entire life and bought a house that she didn't buy that she stole. I would, because people that are too good. I don't know. That weirds you out a little bit. Like she's just charitably working for Kroger and the dollar store, but yeah, she's probably making bank online.
It's pretty great. Of all the things you could do, like in my mind, if you're like, let's see how long you can do this for 8 hours, my immediate brain is there's malfeasance involved. There's chicanery. There's pulling the wool over someone's eyes. If you want to do something for 8 hours, nowhere in my central nervous system does do something good flag up. It's like, really? Wait, you that's your idea? I kind of dig it, man. It's heartwarming in a sense. It's not quite as heartwarming as this. A grandmother has left a pretty amazing gift for her granddaughter. This will get you. A woman named, how do you say this name? Paley Bacek shared a video. Her grandmother left her a pretty special gift. It was 14 years of voicemails between the two of them.
She saved everything.
Yeah.
Check this out. We've got now over 14 years. We've got a little sample here. Check this out.
It's me, Grandma. I just got a new scooter, and it's pretty. I love it. Grandma, I thought maybe you could come over and watch G-Force with me. You can come over if you want, okay? Hi, Grandma. It's me, Paley. I just wanted to say goodnight. I love you, and I miss you.
I got the job. I got the job on the spot. I'm just really happy.
It's the little things in life that we can stitch together to make our life so cherished.
The memories we overlook the most tend to be the memories that we appreciate later on in life.
Man, that's sweet.
Cool. I want to bawl my eyes out. You know who you couldn't do this with? Your own kid. You got to be a grandparent because you get the fun voicemails, right? You don't get the "I hate you," the grounded voicemails. And by the way, voicemails alone. My God, kids, feel free to leave some voicemails. See how they can brighten up an oldster's life. I probably have like 3 from my kids.
I just read a story about there was an experiment done with college kids, and they sent 2 groups of it was female college students. They took like 100 in one group and 100 in the other, and for like a 6 weeks period, they had one of these groups just text their moms about everything, solely text. The other group only spoke on the phone. No texting, only speaking. And the first group, no speaking, only texting. And they measured like the level of serotonin and cortisol and how it affected all the students' hormones. And the kids who were solely texting were very, very stressed. They couldn't get or dopamine. There's none to be found after 6 weeks. The kids who were talking to their moms every day, while also sometimes there'd be some tension flares because, as you said, college kid, mom, you can butt heads. But they were way more chill, way more content. All their levels were way less stressed out. And I just thought, I'm going to send that to my my wife and kids. And then I thought, no, we're good right now. I don't want to, it'll just put pressure on my kid. Oh, wait, we have to call mom every day now? Yeah. What are you trying to do to us, man? Right. But I just thought, no, we're actually in a really good place, so I'm not going to say anything. But that kind of makes sense what you said. Grandparents, yeah, man, just nothing but, come on. Yeah, save the voicemails. I remember very clearly, first day of dropping my son off for kindergarten at the big school, not like a little preschool for a couple hours, but going for day-long kindergarten. And I thought, man, just one little sticky note every day for 13 years, get him all the way through high school. It lasted like 3 days. You know what I mean?
That sounds. Every time I try to journal or something like that, I tried the audio one now they have on your phone, and it even gives you reminders. Brian, I see you took a picture today while you were out at the park. Would you like to talk about that in your journal? Yeah, I'm going to start journaling. This is going to be cool, and I've never made it past more than one entry. Even the ones you go out and buy, you spend $25-$30 on a nice leather bound. I gave it to Sydney after I ripped out the first page where I said, okay, I'm starting a journal. No, I don't know.
My mom would always use that trick. She'd leave me a message and just say, I have something to tell you. And I'd get mad. I'd go, well, then why didn't you tell me on the message? But she wanted me to call.
Yeah,
sure.
Cookie.
It worked. Good trick.
Oh, you know how many times I've called Imelda and heard, oh, hi, honey. Hey, Mom, what's going on? Well, look who found the phone.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
My mom would always, she doesn't do it anymore, but she would jump in my Facebook messages like, hey, going to be out at the motorcycle shop this weekend. Why don't you come on out and join me from 1 to 3 this afternoon? We're giving away some bumper stickers, whatever, concert tickets. My mom would jump on. Brian, your mother would love to win some concert tickets. You know what? But I'll settle for a phone call. And then there would be 45 listeners going, call your mom. I'm like, oh, my God, she's rallied the troops.
Oh, I've gotten notes on the KQ Morning Show. My mom, she's up listening. Down in Kentucky.
What?
Oh, yeah.
You never told me that. You're supposed to block your mom from listening.
I got no control over it, man. I'll just get the little. I mean, at this point, it's okay. But there were some. Oh man, let me tell you, there were some times in my life when she would just weigh right in, and I'm like, Mom, you're not the target audience. I don't know how to tell you this. I had an advice column on the old Black Crowes website, and it was saucy and full of blue language, and I thought it was hilarious. And she didn't. And, there was a time she worked at my old school. She was an administrator at the school, and in the office one day with a couple of the gals, and she's like, "Oh man, Steven is so funny. He's so witty." And she wanted to read one of my advice column answers, and so she read one, and it was really funny, and they're all laughing. And then she goes into the next one without having proofread it, and like Ron Jeremy and Anchorman, she just blasts right into an MFer and a sea sucker and a whole few. And she can't believe it. And then it's like a whole moment. And she called me to let me know. And I was like, Mom, I'm 33 years old. What? She's like, you don't speak like that. I said, not to you. I remember at the time, it sounds like I'm just, but I was laughing, and she was really upset. I mean, she was not losing sleep, but she was like, I just don't think this is a good look for you. And I can get her thought, but I'm like, Mom, I'm in a rock band. And this is just funny. It's over the top. There's a point to that. It's not because I don't have other words. I'm specifically choosing these words because they're funny, because they're so over the top. And in the context, and she's just like, I know. And she just said, honey, I just think you're smarter than that. And I said, okay, again, I'm 33 years old.
You're better than that, Steve.
Yeah, if we only had 500,000 moms living in the metro area.
I did say, Mom, the target audience is not 72-year-old women. I mean, I love you, but that's just not what we're here for. That's not who we're trying to, we're trying to attract young rockers who love cuss words. That's the mission statement of the band.
Man, that reminds me of the only time I went full-on parental to school and called them up as an outraged parent while I'm doing the KQ morning show, and I was doing some pretty weird things back in those days. Might have been drinking a lot more, but on the air I was doing some weird things. But I get home and I don't even want to tell you what my daughter says to me. Actually, she said, Dad, you're a dragon. I said, I'm a dragon? She's a little girl. I don't know what, first grade, something like that. Yeah, you're a dragon. I heard you on the bus today. Stop right there. Why did you hear me on the bus today? Well, the bus driver had your radio show on. I'm already reaching for my cell phone. I'm like, right. She's like, yeah, you're Dragon Day. You were talking about eating a lady. I'm like, yes, that's right. Your dad's a dragon. And sometimes I pretend to be a dragon on the radio and I eat people. Now, what the hell is the name of that number of that damn school? Anyway, I successfully got the morning show shut off on that bus route anyway.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, I love you, man, but you cannot listen to our show on an elementary school bus.
Yeah, the only appropriate response to that is, hey-o!
Hey-o!
Hey, all right, fair enough.
What? Toaster saved me here. Right now on the KQ92 Talk and Text line, callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK, playing Beat the Hell Out of the Toaster on a Monday morning, Tony. How could you? Outlaw Music Festival tickets up for grabs. Willie Nelson with special guests Bob Dylan and John Mellencamp. Tickets went on sale for those Friday morning. On sale now through Live Nation. And it's happening September 6th at the Somerset Amphitheater. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, March the 4th. We've been talking about allergies on the show today. A lot of people have posted on the KQRS Facebook page about weird or unexpected allergy situations they've experienced. Here's something I'm allergic to: online nonsense and BS, because every now and again on the KQ Facebook posts, you'll see people posting, and it's almost always, there's always a response, and it's only to, a woman will say something like, blah, 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 here's my answer. And then there's always some response, hey, I noticed a lot of your posts are really funny. I'd love to be your friend. They're like these online trolls or scammers or bot farms. I don't know who the hell it is. But there's always it's always the same thing. It's like a guy in his 50s, and he always has a medical degree, and he's always on Facebook trolling listeners of KQ. Hey, I just couldn't help but notice how funny you are. I think we probably have the same interest. How about liking this, and then we'll be friends? It's like, dude, get off our post. We're trying to talk about allergies.
Yeah, right.
He's probably not even a real person, of course. I'm just saying I notice those hitting on a regular basis.
I'm like, there's dating sites. There's even free dating sites out there. I don't know that you need to elbow your way into a Facebook post on our site to try and hit on someone. But as you read through them, they're kind of formulaic. I think they are bots now. They're getting in everywhere. I don't know how many texts a day I get now from the same area code phone number trying to sell me something. It's an infestation.
Charlie wrote that he's just one word on his allergies: wasp. My wife is allergic to bee stings.
Ooh.
And so it's
serious.
It's a concern. It's one of those things. What's that?
I was just going to say polymorphic light eruption. I see Sarah and Lisa on the KQ Facebook post. I mentioned that a friend of mine, Beth, was allergic to sunlight. Apparently, it's not that uncommon. In fact, someone else jumped on here. I'm sorry, I'm not finding your name. Dwayne said Brian's up. It's called polymorphic light eruption. So, allergic to sunshine.
It sounds like a band from Sweden. Oh, no, that's Polyphonic Spree. My bad. Yeah. I knew it was something like that. So hit the Facebook page if you want. A little later in the day, if you want to share a story, 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. But right now would not be a great time to call because right now it is time to take care of some business. We have 2 callers on the horn awaiting their summons to the air because they want to win tickets to the Outlaw Festival. We've got Willie Nelson with Bob Dylan and John Mellencamp Friday, September 6th. 2 callers competing for tickets. And Tony, today's game, please, sir.
Oh, it's time.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey.
Toast. Toast. Toast.
I would like toast.
Toast.
Who wants toast? I love toast.
When this guy put some bread in a toaster, you wouldn't believe what happened next.
You've got bread and a toaster of some kind.
You make me a grilled cheese sandwich.
Your breakfast is ready.
I didn't hear a ding.
The KQ Morning Show presents...
All we need to do is beat the toaster.
Beat the toaster.
It's a game show.
Beat the toaster.
Breakfast is ready.
Oh, it's time to beat the toaster. Let's do some toaster beating. Here's what we do. We're going to pop a slice of bread into the toaster. Today, it's caraway rye, a lovely blend. We're going to give you a category, then you name as many things that pop into your pretty little head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops. 2 rounds each.
Very nice. Perfectly explained. Candace, let's get to it. Who's caller number 1?
Noah from Rosemont.
Noah, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Listen to you guys all the time.
Thank you very much for that. Are you excited to possibly see Willie and Bob and John?
Yeah, that'd be amazing, yeah.
It would be amazing. Well, Beat the Toaster is a bit of a gauntlet. I wish you the best, sir.
All right, thanks.
All right, my man, we're going to start out a little easier, kind of a warm-up round. So give it your best shot here. Name varieties of apples. Go.
Red apples, green apples, Granny Smith, Gala, Charleston, pink lady apples,
knows a lot more apples than I do.
Right.
Yeah,
very
really.
knowledgeable.
I do have to nitpick. He said green and then Granny Smith. Is that the same or is there a difference?
I don't think they're the same.
Okay.
Is it
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 then. Pink lady. Well, unfamiliar with that, but I'll take your word for it.
I've had a pink lady.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes,
I know
sir.
the Gala is really nice.
Bragger.
We heard.
By the way, Granny Smith, never mind. Nothing. It's one of my favorite apples, Granny Smith. It is a green apple, but green apples are their own classification as well.
All right,
yeah.
great. Beautiful. Golden Delicious. Big fan of those as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and don't get me started on a Honey Crisp.
Oh, that's it. That's the one, man. Right.
Noah 6, though, is strong, brother. Good first round. Sit tight. We got to go for contestant number 2's first round. Candace, who would that be?
Gary from Robbinsdale.
Gary?
Gary,
good morning, sir.
How you doing, Steve?
Oh, very well, thank you very much. Are you interested in winning tickets for Willie, Bob, and John?
I would love to see Willie. Never seen him.
Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully, sir, this is your day. Beat the Toaster. It's a tough one. It's an obstacle course. I wish you the best.
All right. Thanks. I got a voice for not for radio, and I don't have a face for TV, but I like listening to you guys.
That's good enough for us, man. We'll take it. Thank you.
Oh, you're being too hard on yourself, Gary. Okay.
Well, wait till you get to these questions. I'll be lucky to get one.
I think he's setting us up.
Sharking us all day long. He's going to run the table.
Big tease. Okay.
Well, we'll see about that.
Here's your first round, my man. Name varieties of energy drinks. Go.
Monster. Boy, don't do them. Monster. Boy, I'm trying to think of races. Monster's all I got for energy. Never do them.
Well, that's one good one.
You said you wouldn't even get one, and you hit that one right out of the park. Came strong with Monster. Didn't move on from that. Red Bull's a pretty big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. Rockstar's another pretty big one. Yeah.
Don't drink them.
There was one coffee. There was one almost 20 years ago called Buku that was making the rounds, and it was on its way up. And I knew a guy whose friends had started the company, and then he thought he was going to get rich on it, and it didn't happen. Anyway, Gary, you got one right there. which is a strong one. And it is very much something. Empires have been built on less. So it's a building process. Round 2 coming up momentarily. Sit tight. We're back to Noah for his round 2. Noah is sitting with 6 in the clubhouse. Let's see what happens next.
Noah, here we go. You're going to do it. You're going to host a lovely dinner party for friends and family, but you're only serving items that start with the letter Q. What's on the table? Go.
Q. I got kumquats. I got quilts. I got quail. We got quiet music. We got what else? Oh, darn, that's hard.
Quilt sounds good. Maybe with a nice kumquat relish. I'm going to pass on the quilt, however.
I'm afraid kumquat doesn't start with a Q, I'm afraid to say.
It's
a K.
Probably doesn't.
Come on.
And then I don't know if quilts really, if you're serving quilts for food.
I thought about that, but I said what's on the table. So I'm going to give that one to
All right,
him.
very good. Quilts, quail. What else did we have? Quiet music.
Quiet music on the table, yeah.
It's pushing it. I don't think we can give you that one.
Right there on the Amazon player, right there in the middle of the table. All right.
I was thinking of the one thing I thought was quinoa.
Sure, quinoa, quesadilla.
Ooh, quesadilla is good.
Queso dip, Quisp and Quake.
Oh, Quisp. What are you kidding?
Quarter pounder.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now we're just rubbing noses.
Yeah, once you don't have the toaster down, sure. Once we have some time to all relax and bat it around the table, but
sure. I thought it was a hell of an effort. I like the quiet music, man. Good try right there. But that's all right. You're still sitting on 8. Music. You've got 8, so you're in good shape. Now we're going to go back to Gary for round 2. All right, Gare Bear, here's what we got. You got to hit a 7 to get this bad boy game into overtime. It's possible. It's happened before. Best of luck.
I think you can do it, pal.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay. You're going to climb up a tall tree in the city and drop stuff on people and property, but you have a conscience. What are you bringing up there that won't really hurt anybody or cause real damage? Go.
A button, a shoe, a stick, a pebble, a piece of clothing.
No.
Yeah.
So close. I was waiting for a Nerf something or other.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been good. Awesome, but like I said, I ain't got it.
A kitten.
5. I got 5, which puts you at 6, which puts you 2 out of the lead. But a strong second round, Gary. You stepped up and acquitted yourself nicely. But I'm afraid Noah is going to be the one taking the bacon home today, or in this case, 2 tickets. Willie, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp, Friday, September 6th. Congratulations, Noah. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing. Well done.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much.
Love ya.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right.
Man. All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Of course, I do really feel the need to mention that I Googled kumquat. I was like, I don't think that's a K. I was pretty sure it wasn't.
Right? No.
But I did have to confirm it with a K. I thought that was the case.
I only knew because it came up, I don't know, a couple of years ago on words that sound dirty but aren't. And kumquat, I think, was number 1 that year.
Yeah.
And so I just recalled that it didn't start with a Q, but I just loved hearing. I love the word kumquat. How can you not like it?
Who doesn't?
Could misuse that so many ways.
So obviously not allergic to kumquats. We've been talking about allergies throughout the day. On the Facebook page, Jim wrote, I was sent to Alabama for basic training February of 78. About a month after being there, was outside for morning formation. The wind suddenly picked up, and there was what I can only describe as a green fog rolling out of the woods around the entire base. Yeah. It was pollen. And by the way, I've seen the pollen fogs down south. Wow. They are... You will wake up some mornings, and your car, it's in Tennessee, it's yellow. Bright yellow. You will walk out and your car is every car is yellow. And then you just immediately, whether you have allergies or not, assume you're going to fall down and not be able to catch your breath for the rest of the day. Right. Jim went on to say, got a major headache, didn't go away the next morning, so I was on sick call. The medic diagnosed me with sinusitis, had to take meds. I was shipped off to Germany in the mountains. Never had another problem until I come back to the States. Every spring I have sneezing fits like Steve had described, dozens of sneezes in a row. I had those once, and this just reminds me, though. I'd completely forgotten because Jim went to Germany and was free of allergies. I had an allergic reaction in Germany once that was luckily captured on camera because I was doing a TV interview. and it was, I mean, when you think about rock bands, you just picture them on stage or in the studio, and you don't think about all the other hours of the day you're together and how those bonds, like the relationships you get so deep so quickly because you're just never away from each other in both good and bad ways. But a lot of it's really good. You experience things that you just could never get anywhere else. And I was on this is in the summer of '96 with the Black Crowes. Our singer Chris and I, we are doing a promotion tour in Europe. Just the two of us go over to Europe for like 3 weeks and just do interviews. Like the album's coming out in a couple months, and this is just a setup. And it's 8 hours a day, every day. You're in a hotel room, and then every 20 minutes, another guy comes in and goes, "I'm with the German drum magazine, and I like the new record, and I want to talk to you about it." And then he asks you a bunch of questions. The next guy comes in, "So what's different about this record than the last one?" And you just go through this endless. And it just, and every day you're in a different city, and it's just over and over and over and over. And then you get bored hearing the same questions, so you start giving different answers. And then people are like, "Oh, which one's a lie? Which one's true?" You're like, "I don't know, man. I was just losing my mind." And anyway, so we're in the midst of one of these press tours. And the guy comes in, we're in Germany, and he says, "We had a great idea. We're going to take you guys out of the hotel. We want to take you out to a field just outside of the city. It's a beautiful setting. It's a giant field. There's just one huge tree in the middle of all this grass. And if we sit you at the base of the tree, we think it'll look great." And we are just like, "Thank God, get us out of this hotel." And we go down to the lobby, we walk out, and the guy goes, "We thought you'd like this cool American van. It's like a rocker van from the 70s. They've got like a 70s Chevy van with shag carpet and big speakers. I mean, it looks like some fevered hippie dream from Southern California, 1970s. And we get in this van, and they drive us out to this field. And it's just a giant acres after acres. We have to walk like 300 yards to get to this one huge tree. And we sit down, and there's 2 camera guys and a sound guy with a boom, and the journalist is off, and we're sitting there. And as we're getting ready, my eyes are starting to itch a little bit. And I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm feeling like I have an allergy to something kind of coming on." And the guy's like, "Are you okay? Should we take a break?" I'm like, "No, I mean, let's just get over this because this is just going to kind of get worse." We start doing the interview, and all of a sudden my neck, I'm like, "Oh, man, my neck's kind of itching, and my throat is getting kind of itchy, and my ears itch." And at some point, Chris looks over at me. He goes, "Dude, you're red." Oh. And I go, "What?" He goes, "Your whole face and neck are red." And I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of feels that way." And then I look at the guy who's doing the interviews, and he's like, "I thought maybe that was just the sunlight over here, just not a shadow. Oh, you don't look good, Steve. You don't look good at all." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm kind of losing my mind here." And the whole thing. And I've never seen the footage. I'd never, this was one of those things that was just lost in the world because it was still the 90s. And it lasted about 20 minutes, and then it went away. Like, my immune system did its job. We had to take a long break, and we were getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Yeah, I'm kind of feeling better now." And they're like, "Oh, your skin color's coming back." And we have ultimately finished the interview, and it was the weirdest thing. And but it was so bad. I was itching so bad for a while, and we're laughing so hard about it. And then like 2 years ago, it popped up online somewhere. Someone sent me like, "Did you ever see this?" And it was like the outtakes. And I'm on this camera, and I don't have the link. I'm sure I could find it somewhere. But there I am, just like, 25 years ago, just scratching, and like my eyes are watering, my skin's red. I look ridiculous.
And then it was over. Something before you went out there? Because it came and went so fast.
I guess it could have been. I never even thought about it. I mean, they had like little, coffee and biscuits in the hotel room or something. Who knows? Maybe I got a hold of a weird Garibaldi, and it set me sideways.
Took you out to the old allergy tree there in the middle of the field.
What we like to do is there's this allergy tree, and it's a test. It's a fitness test. The strength of survival in the German forest.
What about this one? Jennifer on the KQ Facebook post talking about weird allergies.
Yeah.
That is pretty weird.
My daughter, here's Jennifer. My daughter is allergic to the cold and will break out in hives if her skin is exposed.
Oh, yeah, the cold. Mm-hmm.
Well, is that an actual allergy, or is that just a...
excuse?
No, you can have an allergy to the cold.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first I've heard of that.
My ears don't like the cold.
Yeah.
They get really red, and then I gotta wear my muffs everywhere I go.
Yeah, I don't think that's uncommon, but yeah. Luckily, her daughter, by the way, moved to Arizona, so
okay.
She'll do well down there.
Oh, that's a good thing. At 9:30, in a little over an hour, we're going to be talking on the show with a guy named Joel Sullivan, who's written a book about Jim Gordon. If that's not a name you're familiar with, believe me when I say you know his work. Jim Gordon is one of the absolute great rock and roll drummers of all time. And the book that Joel Sullivan has written is called Drums and Demons, The Tragic Journey of Jim Gordon. Jim played on a million sessions in the 60s and 70s in L.A. He was in the band Derek and the Dominoes. Mm-hmm. He did the Joe Cocker Mad Dogs and Englishmen tour, double drummer duty along with Jim Keltner, two of the greatest drummers of all time on that tour together. Jim Gordon is the kind of drummer that every drummer you love goes, oh man, that guy's untouchable. Yeah. He's just top shelf. And he had some debilitating mental illness. And in fact, it's a kind of fairly famous story. Jim Gordon wrote the piano coda on the song Layla.
Yeah.
The song has the screaming guitar thing, and then it hits that break and that astounding piano outro. Jim wrote that in the studio. He was a tremendously talented guy. He also suffered from schizophrenia, and spoiler alert, he killed his mother.
Yeah.
And spent the last many decades of his life in prison for a crime. He had been hearing voices for years telling him to do that. I mean, it's an awful story, but a fascinating one, and a guy who, because of that, just gets kind of lost in the history. When people talk about all-time great drummers, we leave Jim Gordon off, and I'm telling you, he's just it's overlooking him, his drumming for, of course, what happened in his personal life. But there's a new book that, anyway, the drumming community, if nobody else, has been waiting years to read, and Joel Sullivan's going to be with us in a little over an hour. So I'm looking forward to discussing that with him on the show today.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Rolling Stone did a piece on him decades ago, a feature piece that was several pages long, but I've been waiting to hear more about Jim Gordon. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the kind of story that more than just drummers will be interested in.
Sure.
And maybe it's the juvenile delinquent in me. We're talking about weird allergies. We'd love to hear about your weird allergy. It's obvious. It's an early allergy season, no doubt, this year. 651-989-ROCK. But there are some students that have got them all fired up in Oklahoma for how they raised money at a school fundraiser. The superintendent, we've got audio, is just incensed, and I love pissing off a superintendent. I'm not sure I would have done it the way these students did it. It's kind of a shocker. It's weird. I wonder what you might think about it. We'll get to it here in just a little more than 10 minutes. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, March the 4th. Def Leppard, pour some sugar on me, or pour some peanut butter on me if you're feeling frisky. Let's just see what happens.
I will not.
Okay, fine. It was just a suggestion. Stranger things have happened. I mean, sometimes pouring peanut butter on someone just seems to be, a logical choice, especially if you're trying to be, if you want to operate a fun fundraiser, then why not have high school kids dump peanut butter on each other and lick it off their toes? That's right. I'm not making this up. This is something that just happened in Oklahoma. Check this out. Deer Creek School District released a statement Friday after a local Fox News affiliate showed a video of a school event where, yes, as I said, students were licking peanut butter off of each other's feet.
Oh, not a teenager's foot. No.
A teenager's foot indeed.
No.
We have a little audio that accompanies this story, I believe.
Yes, sir, we do. This is, by the way, I just want to preface, they did change the voices to protect the innocent here, a student and a mom.
It was surprising. I didn't think they were going to do it. I had to ask her, wait, what? They're licking peanut butter off of toes. What? I am all for fundraising and all for really fun and silly things, but that right there just seemed a little excessive.
It seemed a little excessive. Now it started off... Well, like most things do, start off with a good idea. Let's raise some money for. There's a place in town called Not Your Average Joe Coffee, and Not Your Average Joe Coffee employs people with intellectual, developmental, and physical disabilities. Okay, great.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's raise money for Not Your Average Joe Coffee. Fantastic. And the students who did this all did volunteer. This is 9th through 12th graders. They volunteered to participate in various different class competitions. So, yes, they were, in fact, volunteers. I can't imagine they knew exactly what was going to happen. I do know that after, if you're in high school and you sign up to do this and you get all excited and all you're thinking is, hey, man, it beats chemistry class, you'll do just about anything to make sure you stay out of chemistry class. That said, I can't imagine there weren't some kids lining up going, I can't believe I'm about to do this.
I mean, I'm looking at the video. It's disgusting. I think the principal might have overreacted, calling it abhorrent behavior and that he's going to get to the bottom of it and this will never happen in an Oklahoma school. All right. Sir, you know where he's going. He's going to some sort of weird fetish in his mind. I think that's what's getting him a little worked up. I think the kids here are they're gross. You're a teenager. What's the grossest thing we can make our buddies do to raise money? You have to lick peanut butter off my toes. No, yeah. I mean, I'd let I forget what the charity was again. It was rather lengthy, but it seemed like a very worthy charity.
And I mean they put up $152,000. I mean they raised not just from the peanut butter sucking and licking, but $152,000 is that's not your average high school fundraiser for Not Your Average Joe. So yeah, holy smokes! It's just. By the way, the people are tweeting it with in all caps graphic warning.
Okay, come on. Oh, they've pixelated out the kid's head so you can't see the tongue making contact with the toes. And by the way, there absolutely appears to be zero sexual. These guys are just like, all right, these are toes. This is peanut butter. We're raising money. I've got to get it off the toes. It's we got to say the Fox affiliate pixelated. The kids themselves on Snapchat and Insta, they ain't pixelating anything. No.
And there are students, it has to be said, who at their 40th year high school reunion in 2064, it'll be like, "What's up, Crunchy Toes? How you doing?" Like,
right.
Still old Crunchy Toes.
I like number 25 there with the 25 jersey went a tongue through the toes. You saw the tongue come out the bottom of the toes. He's cleaning it all up. Oh, here it is. Superintendent Ryan Walters looks fairly stuffy. This is disgusting. We're cleaning up this filth in Oklahoma schools. Our agency is investigating. Lighten up, Francis.
You could go with a car wash or
what happened to how many free throws can you make in a row? I mean, come on, man.
It's a little weird. It's not filth.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if you want to take it there.
There's a high school just outside of Nashville in Brentwood, which is like a suburb just south of Nashville. And Brentwood High School for years, I mean, for decades has done a big fundraiser day. And part of the deal is a lot of the senior boy football players. And, this is Tennessee. Football is king, blah, blah, blah. They go in drag, and they walk around. It's like, who's Miss Brentwood High? But it's a giant, usually an offensive lineman, in a dress and heels and makeup. They've been doing it for years. Well, the Tennessee State Legislature, which is made up of just a whole lot of guys who wear really tight pants, they've banned it's illegal to appear anywhere in the state for any reason ever in drag. Like even Halloween, like they are passing laws down there that are draconian and archaic and completely, they're the epitome of what's gone way wrong when one group of people gets control. And so Brentwood High they couldn't have this event. They would not allow high school football players to put on a dress to raise money while people vote for blah, 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 blah. And it just gets so silly. Like, it's not filth. There's a certain level of, this is just, I can come up with some filth if you want to hear some filth.
Oh yeah,
and it might involve peanut butter, but it involves a lot more than just someone's foot too.
Don't make me tell my dragon story again. Hey, are they banning Monty Python reruns in the state of Tennessee?
Pretty much.
Come on. What about MASH reruns? That damn clinger.
It's a lot going on in the world.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, March the 4th. In about 30 minutes, we're going to speak with a writer named Joel Selvin. He has a new book called Drums and Demons, The Tragic Journey of Jim Gordon. We'll talk to him about that book. It's getting rave reviews. Jim Gordon, one of the great drummers in rock and roll history, a man with a life story that is almost too impossible to believe. The author, again, Joel Selvin, with us at about 9:30. In the meantime, every now and again, I get prompts from various things to change my password, or I'll get an email and it says, there's been a data breach and your password may have been compromised. And I roll my eyes and go, yeah, whatever. I mean, what app is going to breach? What could be the harm? What could go wrong? A few years ago, I'll tell you what went wrong. I was the victim of identity theft.
Were you really?
Wow. Oh, yeah. 2018 or 17, I'm at the house one day, and I get a letter in the mail from Sunglass Hut thanking me for starting a new account. And I'm like, babe, what's with Sunglass Hut? She's like, what are you talking about? And then I opened the next letter, and it's from Home Depot. Thanks for opening your new charge account. And then I get one from Bloomingdale's and Macy's. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? In all, 50 accounts or so opened.
50.
Holy.
All over the place. Stores I've never heard of.
You must have had good credit.
And
I never got that far with me.
And thank God they all sent confirmation letters. And thank God the person who got my social security number put my actual home address on there. So, because I would have never known otherwise.
Yeah.
Until I started getting bills. But as it turned out, I recognized on certain cards, there's like a $3,000 charge here, a $1,000 charge there. All told, it was, and I capped it early, shut down all my cards, got online. What do you do with identity theft? Immediately, went to the credit bureaus and logged in and paid money to block my info. But it took about 2 years to clean up the mess officially.
Seriously?
My credit rating initially took a big hit, and then because there were charges that had not gone, and then they weren't paid, and then you go to the FTC. Long story short, it's a nightmare. So if you don't have your credit scores locked at the various bureaus, at the very least, do that. Figure out how to do it, because, man, it is awful. And there's 5 mistakes people make that get them hacked, the most often ones. And the first one they say is if you use an unsecured Wi-Fi, if you're hanging out at a coffee shop and they've got an unsecured Wi-Fi, if you're at an airport and it's public Wi-Fi, don't. It just makes it very easy for people to eavesdrop and steal info when you're browsing the internet at spots like that. And in fact, I remember a few years ago, some buddies of mine in a band were going to Russia, and they were told, don't even bring your cell phones. Don't enter the country with your personal cell phones or computers.
I'd like someone to track where I'm at. Yeah, I'd like someone to know where I'm at, though. But you're right. So they say the same thing in North Korea as well.
Yeah, the recommendation was to get a burner. Just get another phone. That all it is a phone number, but no information anywhere other than your number. That's the best possible way. And then, when the password thing came out, too, there was a story last year. We talked about it. If your passwords are at least 16 or 18 characters, they can't be hacked. Like, the technology truly doesn't exist. If you have a password that's like, Steve is cool, 19, I mean, they can find that.
That's my password.
I know, that's why I said it. But if you go up to, I think it's either 16 or 18, for whatever reason, if you get your passwords that long, they are unhackable. Like everybody's saying that. So I immediately am like, you ain't getting in here, you son of a bitch. Like, my passwords are a mile long now, all of them.
I have long, weird ones.
Yeah, and so that's a pretty good thing. But that's a pretty good one. One thing you really need to do, so make sure you've got your passwords long. Don't reuse an old password. If somebody ever has one of your old ones, then other hackers get it on the dark web. They try it constantly, and if you go back to one you've used before, they will immediately it'll be flagged. They'll know it. There are people right now just waiting for you to go back to an old password that worked in the past. It's crazy to think about. So, and having been, I still get notifications that say, like, your social just turned up on the dark web. Oh, wow. People have it. It's out there. Kind of a drag, let me tell you.
It is, especially if you do any family sharing, then everybody else has to, what'd you change the password to? Sid the kid, my youngest, has a bad habit of every time she signs into something, changing our family password. She can't remember it, so she just changes it. Suddenly I'm not able to get into any of my streaming shows or this or that. And, I changed the password. And to some weird cat's name.
Okay, what's the cat? What's the birthday? Is it exclamation or question mark?
I don't know. It's just like what? She goes, it's my cat's name. Mogwai? I don't have to Google that, or how do you spell Mogwai? And no, not the Mogwai from the friendly Disney movie, Jungle Book. No, some band out there. Let's see, that's why I got it wrong.
See, that's it. Of course, suspicious links, you never want to click on those. Spam email, if it's a weird text message. I do remember last year when I read, like, you get a text from a number you don't recognize, and it's like, hey, click here. Of course you don't. But now there are, if you shouldn't answer calls from numbers you don't know, because simply answering a call from an unknown number can give access to your phone. Like, you can, that's just too much. I don't normally answer numbers if I don't know it, but now there's like a real reason not to. If it's legitimate, they'll leave a voicemail, and you can determine whether to call them back or not. Candace, do we have a caller?
Tim from St. Michael.
Tim from St. Michael. Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
We're great, brother. How you doing?
Well, love the show.
Thank you.
Son's computer security expert in a big way. Mm-hmm. He goes to all the conventions, hacking conventions, like Black Hat. He goes to them. He takes what he calls a drop top, the laptop that when he walks out the door, pops it in the trash. For sure, everything's been hacked.
Oof.
Carries cash.
Really?
I'll get stolen. You have all that stuff.
Man,
you really are protected no matter what you do.
Oh, that's
do the best you can.
Yeah, no, that's really it, I guess. Wow. Well, that's a reassuring message, Tim. Thanks. No, information is important. No, I it's actually great to know. You can't be too secure with those things. I mean, you can't be too sure. You can't be too paranoid if you want to go that far. But it makes perfect sense. I held off on doing anything online for a year. I was still writing checks like 3 years ago, and finally I'm like, by now they've got they've got it figured out on the monthly bills. I'm not going to get whatever. But yeah, I was always, as a card carrying Luddite from back in the day, the 90s just blew right past me, man. I mean, I didn't get an email address till like 2000. And it was the summer of 2000 before I got an email address. And it was only after I had a kid. And I was like, I'm a dad. I better have an email address. I don't even know what that – somehow that added up in my head to time to give in and get an email. What it was. What are you going to do? I've seen emails. People I've gotten screenshots of emails where someone's like, "What?" I'll just get an email. It's like, "What the hell does this mean?" And it was an old AOL email address of mine, but it's not an email I ever sent. But they just use Photoshop or whatever, where it looks like a screenshot of an email where I'm threatening somebody, or I'm actually threatening to blackmail someone, and they're like, "The tables have turned." I mean, you just get weird crap. It's like, what on earth? And we get here at work. The radio network Cumulus, they're very, as well they should be, terrified of getting the whole network hacked. Another radio network a few years ago got hacked and was shut down for weeks. Literally millions of dollars of just cost them millions to get it back up. So we have training exercises we do regularly to make sure you're not going to click on weird spam. Those things happen, right?
Yeah, I'm in FM radio. I'm going to click on every damn weird spam story I can find to try and bring a little entertainment to the airwaves.
For other Cumulus folks who say, why do we do so much training? The answer is always, well, Brian's up. That's why we do so much training.
I'm not the only one that's been caught in those damn phishing scams.
Oh, no, I know. I got one a few years ago. I may have told you this on the air, but it really jarred me because I'm just not used to getting these kind of emails that often. This was in Nashville a few years ago. Early in the pandemic, the radio building I was operating out of for my syndicated show, like all radio buildings, was closed down. No access. It's done. Go home and do your show from there. But I had access to the lot, which was 5 acres in a giant fenced-in lot downtown Nashville, and I would go there with my dogs. I had a private dog yard. It was great. Bring the tennis balls. My son would go shoot hoops on the hoop. I'd throw the balls with the dogs. Everybody was having a good time. Well, one of the days I was there, I went into the building to just take a leak. I just had to go. I walk in the building. Only person been in there for weeks. Go to the bathroom. I urinate. I flush. I leave. The next day.
Didn't wash your hands?
The next day. I'm not sure. Probably did. The next day, or maybe it was 2 days later, but within 2 days, I'm back at the station doing it again, and I see an email come into my work email. And it literally says, I saw you in the building, and I got video. I know you masturbated.
Oh.
You have an hour to respond.
Oh, God.
And
you have an hour?
And I literally looked at that, and I was like, okay, first of all, that didn't happen, or did it? I have to think, wait, I didn't. There's no way I went in there and did that. And I was like, but still, I was like, wait a minute. They could have doctored a video, or it's just me at a urinal, and they'll say that. But either way, the best case scenario is this is going to be embarrassing that someone at the network's going to get this. And then I'm like, hey, wait, hold on, stop, hold on. No one's they don't have hidden cameras. And then like literally as I'm thinking about this, my producer of that show calls me, Sarah. She goes, hey, so I said, stop, hang on. I just got the weirdest email, and it must be one of those phishing emails, like a blackmail thing. And she literally says, is it about you masturbating? And I go,
everybody knows already, Steve.
Wait, what? She goes, I just got that same email like an hour ago. And I go, well, have you been here? She goes, what? No. I go, oh, well, I was in the building yesterday. She goes, oh my God, that's hilarious. No, it's just, I don't know what that is, but I forwarded it to IT and they said, don't worry about it.
Is there something wrong with masturbating at work?
Well, if you get caught on video during a pandemic, clearly. No, but it was so bizarre. And I grew up in a house where you were guilty until proven otherwise. Right. And you're probably still guilty. So when I'm accused of things that I clearly had nothing to do with, my central nervous system still flags, oh no, I'm busted.
Right.
Even though I'm not trying to be funny. That's an issue I still contend with. Like when something goes haywire, when whatever project you're involved in, when it doesn't quite pull up short, I assume everyone's going to blame me because I always got. So this was like, oh my God, what does this mean? What's happening?
I do like for a hot second, though, you had to think about it. Wait, did I? Right. No.
I won't do it again.
I would have remembered that, I think was your quote. I would have remembered that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, you live and you learn. Yeah, that was a rough one.
You do live and learn. Long passwords and don't overshare. Don't get online at coffee shops. That's our advice for you today. There you go. Oh, and of course, keep the masturbating to yourself.
Yeah. Drums and Demons, the tragic journey of Steve Gorman. Of Jim Gordon. Sorry, they're very close, those names. Drums and Demons, the tragic journey of Jim Gordon, an amazing individual in the world of music and classic rock. If you don't know the name Jim Gordon, you know Jim Gordon's music and the work that he's done in his life, and just a really crazy tale. We've got the author of this new book, Drums and Demons, the tragic journey of Jim Gordon. We're going to be speaking with him here before the bottom of the hour. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, March the 4th. Let's see. About a week ago, a new book was released. It's called Drums and Demons, The Tragic Journey of Jim Gordon. Jim Gordon is one of my favorite drummers ever. He is one of rock music's greatest drummers ever, and this is a book about his life story. Joel Selvin, the author of that book, joins us right now on the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Joel.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
I'm good, man, and I'm very happy to talk to you. I've not yet read the book, but make no mistake, I certainly will. As I mentioned, as a drummer myself, Jim Gordon is one of my favorite drummers. I don't know a rock musician who isn't in awe of what he left behind as a musician. Not a household name, but boy, everybody knows his work.
You drummers are all completely aware, because you can hear what he's doing in ways that ordinary listeners can't, and go, oh my God, how does he do that? He had this unbelievable, almost supernatural ability to divide and reallocate time.
Boy, that's a hell of a way to say it. That's a very good point. He also pulled off, the greatest trick ever is two drummers getting on stage and making it make sense. I referenced earlier in the show the Mad Dogs and Englishmen stuff with Jim Keltner. But there's so many things musically that he left, that he accomplished and did in a very short time. This guy started off sessions in L.A. and he was still basically a kid, right?
Actually, he started the day after he graduated high school out on the road with the Everly Brothers, kind of starting at the top.
Wow.
But he did quickly migrate into recording sessions. So, like, between 64 and 69, Jim was probably doing 3 sessions a day, 3 to 5 songs a session, 6 days a week. He got in a lot of practice.
Man, it's absolutely astounding to think about, and all the different artists and all the different things. But then, among the other highlights, Eric Clapton's putting a band together, and, oh, hey, Dwayne Allman, come do this. And by the way, Jim Gordon's going to be our drummer. The Derek and the Dominoes stuff, the live Derek and the Dominoes is, if you just want to get a sense of the power this man wielded, that's as good a place as any to start. Gordon also, of course, wrote the piano coda for Layla. To say that's an iconic piece of music is a bit of an understatement.
Well, of course, there's some controversy around that piece. It actually was jointly composed by Jim and his then girlfriend, Rita Coolidge. Somehow, by the time it got stuck on the end of Layla, her name got dropped off as a composer, and she was never able to benefit from any of the royalties.
Oof, that's a rough one. Jim's story takes a horrific turn, and again, I haven't read the book. I imagine you spend some time with this too. After dealing with, I've read different accounts, schizophrenia or bipolar, whatever words we put on it. The man was clearly fighting some significant mental illness, and he eventually took his own mom's life. He attacked her. Before that, though, had he been struggling with that for years, or was it a recent thing?
Years and years and years, battling it on a daily basis. Psychiatrists, residential treatment programs, like 15 residential treatment programs in 5 years. That's like checking into a mental hospital every couple months.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yeah, it was a very severe case of schizophrenia. And get this, Steve, schizophrenia turns out to be incredibly common. 1 in 100 in the general population, like multiple sclerosis, is like 1 in 10,000. And of the schizophrenics that have been diagnosed, only half respond to treatment. The other half don't respond at all. And Jim was in a position to afford the finest care possible. And there's no evidence that any of the treatments helped him whatsoever. The treatment that seemed to work best for Jim was massive amounts of drinking and illegal drugs, and those kind of helped him cope with a cacophony, an orchestra of voices chattering away in his head, chief of which was his mother. And these voices were not, banal, harmless voices. If he did not do what they commanded, these were called command hallucinations, they would give him a headache, the likes of which you and I don't know about. Psychiatrists who all know about the symptom call it the electric hat band. Jim called it white-hot cruelty pain.
Jeez. And he was enduring this for years while still performing at the highest level.
That's one of the reasons the psychiatrists had problems diagnosing Jim. He was not properly diagnosed until after the crime. But it's because he was so high functioning. He was making a fortune in a highly competitive field, operating at the absolute top of his game. And, they didn't understand what was really going on. And neither did Jim. And Jim, of course, was embarrassed and ashamed of this condition, and he worked really hard to mask it and disguise it, and it would keep roiling in his insides, and there would be eruptions, unexpected eruptions that astonished him as much as anybody else.
Drums and Demons, the Jim Gordon book, or I should say Drums and Demons, the Tragic Journey of Jim Gordon. That's the actual full title by Joel Selvin, is available now. Joel's on the phone with us on the KQ Morning Show. How were Jim's last years? I know we're coming up on just the first anniversary of his death. We talked about it on this show last year when he passed in March. What were the final few decades of his life like behind bars, just in terms of his mental health?
So, yeah, Jim was going to prison doesn't cure you. So he lived with mental illness the rest of his life. Following the sort of, regular script for schizophrenic, he grew increasingly remote in his life. The people that I talked to who were inside with Jim, they describe a remote presence on the yard, somebody who spent a lot of time by himself in his cell. Because of the royalties from Layla, he was the wealthiest prisoner in the California Penal Authority. So he didn't have to have a job like doing laundry or washing dishes or anything like that. Mm-hmm. He had all the commissary money he wanted. And so he just spent his time in the day room, hanging out quietly.
Man, it's just an incredible story. So you spoke to people that he was serving time with. Did you speak to a lot of the musicians that he played with back in the day?
Did in excess of 100 interviews. Schizophrenics have a real problem bonding with other people. Mm-hmm. Jim always felt guilty about his inability to establish a real good relationship with his daughter. But he didn't have friends in the way that you and I do. Mm-hmm. And so I would do interviews, and I was just picking up little shreds of information with each interview. So I had to really reach out to a lot of people to fill in the picture.
Incredible story from, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, as iconic and as influential a drummer as any from the late 60s and 70s alone. If you just took like a 67 to 74, even like not even a full decade, just the records and the gigs he left behind, those recordings, every drummer I know at some point enters a Jim Gordon phase where they connect the dots and go, oh, wait, this guy did this and this and this and this. And he just runs right to the top of everybody's list. He's, with as awful a story as this is and as difficult and challenging as his life was, it's kind of still incomprehensible what he left behind and at the level he performed all those years.
Oh, yeah. The playlist is unbelievable. And he brought something special, something luminous to every record he played on. And there was a period of time where he was the new guy in town, and people would just drop when they heard him play. Jim Keltner, the session drummer that's played on so many records, mm-hmm. And was in Mad Dogs with him, was in a folk rock group, and he thought he was going to be doing a single. And he shows up at the studio, and there's a silver blue Ludwig kit set up. So he sits on the floor and watches Jim Gordon play, and his life pivoted right then. He went out the next day and bought a silver blue Ludwig kit for himself. Yeah. And what he told me was, he said, I had to learn to play like Jim in order to not play like Jim.
Wow.
And that's why he's a brilliant artist. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I mean, Jim could find a place for himself in so many different music. I mean, that's him on You're So Vain by Carly Simon, Sundown by Gordon Lightfoot, Midnight at the Oasis by Maria Muldaur. He was Merle Haggard's favorite drummer and played on all the Gary Puckett records. George Harrison's solo album, Traffic, a couple of my favorites, Friends of Distinction, Grazing in the Grass, whoa! And yeah. B.W. Stevenson, My Maria. These records couldn't be less alike, right, except for the fact that they had Jim Gordon on the drums. And Jim, who saw drums in the most musical terms, he didn't just keep time and lay down a backbeat. He took those drums and he drove them into the fabric of the musical composition.
That's exactly what he did. That's exactly why everybody pores over those tracks to this day. Joel Selvin's book is available everywhere. Drums and Demons, The Tragic Journey of Jim Gordon. Joel, I'm still kind of amazed no one's ever thought about making a film, not a documentary, but like an actual film about this guy's life, and just the stuff we're talking about today. The idea that someone is at the same time sort of has one foot in two such diverse worlds, and a musical genius and then the tortured mind. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody says, hey, let's make a movie out of this. Have you been approached, or is that something on your mind at all?
There's some incredibly cinematic scenes when you get to reading the book and get to the dumpster scene. Okay? You're going to go, oh, my God. The rock critic Greil Marcus read the book, sent me an email. He said that the dumpster scene alone was a horror movie. But, yeah, there's people that have already reached out and touched me about this. And what I told them was I was going to be very, very scrupulous about this, because there's about 1,000 ways to do this badly and very, very few ways to do this right. Jim has a grown daughter, and there are people that were traumatized by this, and I feel very proprietary about this material.
As well, you should. Joel, it's a pleasure to talk with you. I wish you all the best on the book. Like I said, I will be getting through this book in very short order. Thank you for taking the time.
Let me know what you think.
I certainly will. I was thrilled when I read about it and we had a chance to talk with you. So thanks for calling.
Great being with you this morning.
See you, Joel. Just to hammer the nail one more time. Jim Gordon, just as great a drummer, literally, as there's ever been in rock music, and it's an incredibly astonishing and shocking story of all that he was dealing with for all those years. I haven't mentioned this yet today. The Timberwolves played the Clippers yesterday here in Minneapolis. You've got your West-leading Timberwolves. The Los Angeles Clippers, for the first time, actually feel legit for real, maybe. And they came in and beat Minnesota 89-88 yesterday. I was watching the game. I actually had some friends who came into town just to see that game. So I put it on TV, and as high as I've been on the Wolves all season, I came away with a little, oh boy, I don't like the late fourth quarter lack of suddenly getting shots. And, there's a 3-point deficit with 15 seconds, and Karl Anthony Towns and Ant-Man just go back and forth passing the ball. Neither one of them gets a three they like, and eventually Edwards just drives in and takes a layup with a few seconds, like gets a 2 points, and then the Clippers just inbound the ball and the game ends. It was just one of those moments where you realize, oh, they're still not quite ready for this. Like in a playoff situation, that's what's going to send you home, and I guess they're probably still a year away. And Mike Conley, who I love, the point guard, he's 38 years old. And 38-year-old point guards in the postseason, that's not a happy match, historically speaking. Right. He had 0 points yesterday.
Putting a mark here on the wall. This entire wall is covered with the times I've heard. I guess this Minnesota team is just a year away.
Yeah.
Just not quite ready for the playoffs. Just kind of choking coming down the stretch. Yeah. I've been hearing about that about a lot of Minnesota teams over the years.
Well, that's and this is a really solid, very well coached, good, deep team. But yes, this is not. Now they can make some adjustments, and for all I know, Conley's dealing with a dengue fever, which I read is on the rage right now everywhere. I don't even know what that means. I just read about it. No, but I mean, he could, who knows what? I mean, my God, every player by March has got bumps and bruises and twists and sprains. Yeah. And as I said, the man's 38. I saw Mike Conley play as like a senior in high school in 2007. I mean, he's been in the league forever. But that said, 7-game series, if there's one thing that happens in those series is the team you're playing, they just hammer on your weaknesses. And they just it's a death grip. It's a war of attrition. I would love to see the Timberwolves make it out. And I'll tell you why. They actually match up great with Boston. If they can somehow get through the West, I think they have a chance to win the whole thing, even after what I saw yesterday. But the Clippers and the Nuggets, there's some teams out West that are going to be real problematic for them. Hope springs eternal, but I just got to say, it's not what I wanted to see.
Just never really had one of those Minnesota teams that just dominated, came out like the 85 Bears or Baltimore did there for a while. Or, I'm trying to, make some analogies to some other sports, even the Twins won a couple of World Series, but they, it took them all the games, and they were scrappers and worst to first, this kind of thing.
Well, that 98 Vikings, that was the one.
How'd that work out?
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
But they
just
came
haven't
out like the Bears. I mean, they came out strong and crushed everybody, and then
The playoffs. I'm just talking about the playoffs. A team that rolls into the playoffs strong, has a lot of momentum going into the playoffs. We see the Wild starting to fade. I think they beat the Sharks yesterday, but they're like 14 points out with, coming up on a month left in the season. They just, that killer instinct, and then you hit the playoffs and you're unstoppable.
Yep.
That team, where's that team been?
Well, we're handling it well. I mean, at least as far as
you're right.
As Minnesotans go, we're handling it well, and I know this because apparently we are number 5 of the least stressed out states in America. All 50, we're at number 45 on our stress level, so we're not losing sleep over the T-Wolves. Is what I'm saying.
No, there are other reasons. It's a quality of life thing, and I guess sports isn't one of those high-ranking variables in the state of Minnesota. That's probably a good thing.
A wellness brand just released a ranking, the most and least stressed states in America.
Okay.
It's based on 16 factors, but there's 4 categories: money stress, work stress, health stress, family stress. Right. And the most stressed out state in America, Tennessee.
Oh, I didn't see that coming. They seem so relaxed.
People say, why'd you move from Nashville to Minnesota? That's why. Right there.
Yeah.
No, man, let me tell you something. Nashville is anything is anything but stress-free. It is a boom town 15 years in, and when I'm back there I was there Friday just for the day, played a gig, came right back Saturday morning on the 6 a.m. flight. I get into town, and my central nervous system just goes, it's just too excited, and it's too awesome, and everyone loves Nashville. I'm like, I want to go back to where people are just living their lives, thanks.
Yeah, there's something nice about just, getting through the day.
I'm the happiest Minnesotan because I'm coming from a place where everyone's walking around going, well, I mean, the thing is, we've got so many amazing restaurants now, and all the bands play here. We've got a great theater scene. Everyone's doing PR for Nashville 247. They don't even realize it. And I was doing it. You just get sucked into it. It's like the cult of this is the place everybody's coming. So I'm happy to be the guy that's leaving.
Yeah,
that's me.
I clicked on the list here. I'm looking here at the bottom. The least stressed state, you mentioned Minnesota, one of the least stressed states, certainly. North Dakota, the least stressed state. Yeah, but you'll want to kill yourself from boredom. There's a happy medium there. Maybe just enough stress to make life interesting. I don't know. But good for North Dakota. I like to pick on them.
They're hanging in there. Hanging in there. Let's look back. Here's what's going on today, March 4th. On this day in 1956, the calendar would read 3456. My brother Jim Gorman was born. Inarguably the most impactful male adult role figure mentor in my life. Jimmy G. Happy birthday. Love that man. On this day in 1990, Hank Gathers was a basketball player for Loyola Marymount. He was one of the best players in the country. He led the NCAA in both scoring and rebounding, for God's sakes. And in the middle of a game, shortly after dunking the ball, he ran to midcourt and collapsed, and he died of heart failure. He was 23 years old. He was well on his way to having what would have been a sensational NBA career, and it was one of those moments where any basketball fan who was alive in 1990 remembers terribly. The team went on to compete in the NCAA tournament, and Hank Gathers' teammate, Bo Kimball, the point guard, shot all of his free throws after that. For every game after that, he would shoot the first free throw of his game left-handed to pay tribute to his fallen left-handed best friend.
How cool is that?
Pretty cool. Very sad and very memorable time in college basketball.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.